this, showing my screen. And we're going to talk about entries this week, maintaining and creating entries. And again, such an important topic that comes up in Declare a Play many times. And how often has it happened to you? You've started caching tricks and then you realized you can't continue because you're stuck in the wrong hand and you need to think about your entries. So let's have a look at a variety of these. And if you're watching this video on YouTube afterwards and you wish to join these lessons, send me an email to the address on the screen and I will send you the link to join. So let's start off with this hand here, where you're south. You've got an awkward hand to open. You've got 21 points. You could open one club there and plan to bid something else after, or you might just decide to open two no trump. The hand isn't balanced, but at least it's a singleton ace. Anyway, suppose you open two clubs, two no trump, your partner bids three clubs, which is Stayman. You reply to show you don't have a four card major, and you end up in three no trump. And that ends the auction. On this one, if you'd opened one club, your partner would probably respond one spade, and then you'd end up in three no trump as well. So let's try and make a plan on this hand. And as is usual in the no trump contract, let's try and count our top tricks and then look at opportunities for more. Well, spades is possibly four tricks if we can get to dummy. We've got two top tricks in hearts, no top tricks in diamonds, but we hope to make a number of club tricks. So we've got two off the top, and we hope to make perhaps a total of 4 or 5 club tricks. So that's going to be our plan on this hand. Let's win that first trick with the ace or king. And what we want to do when we have this situation in the spades where the spades suit is blocked here, and it's a very good idea to get rid of that blockage right away. Play the ace so that if and when we do get to dummy, we'll be able to take the remaining spades. And having played that way, my question is, how are we going to get to dummy? And in particular, which card do you think South should play at this trick, at trick 3? So that's the poll for the first question for this evening. Which card do you think South should play at this point, at trick 3? Let's have a look at your responses. And you've all gone for playing a club, most of you leading the 2 of clubs, but 22% have gone for leading the ace of clubs. And if we switch back, although you're right to play a club, but to guarantee an entry to dummy, you have to play a low club. If you start off by playing the ace of clubs, then it doesn't necessarily work out so well. What could happen? Well, the way to make this is to play a low club now, and if they take their queen, then you've got another club to play over to dummy. If I play the ace of clubs now, the computer's saying I can be defeated, because I think what can happen is you can end up blocking the suit. So the straightforward way to do it is to cross over to a club. Let's bring up the 4 hands. And if they take that, or if they don't take it, now you've got an entry with the 10 of clubs to take the rest of the spades. If they play a heart, now you can take that one, and then you've got a club there over to the 10 and can take cash your spades and then come back to your clubs. So yeah, that is indeed the way to make at least 10 tricks. At the end here, I think we're going to lose the last 2 tricks. but we'll make 10 tricks on that one. If we go back and actually go back to that same point and start by cashing the ace of clubs, let's just see what happens if we do that, which is what a number of you said you would do. Now we can be defeated. Whatever we do now, let's suppose we play a low club now, then they can win that one with a queen. And now if they play a heart back, we are in a bit of a trouble here because the club suit is, let's just see what happens here. So we don't get the same number of tricks here. So we can cash the clubs, but we won't. Let's just see what happens if we say play a low club here. We can get to dummy here, but then the suit gets the club suit gets blocked, I think. So let's just see what happens as we can cash our spades, but we've now out of clubs in the north hand, so we won't be able to get back to cash the last two clubs. So it is actually essential there to play a low club there. And if you start with the ace of clubs, the suit, you can get blocked. Let's try another one here.
So Tony, the question, Yogesh here.
Yeah.
You know, East hand had the queen of clubs.
Yeah.
Would it have mattered if the West had the queen of clubs?
No, the answer is it doesn't matter. So if we go back here, so the point is at this point I can get to north by leading low clubs twice. So it doesn't really matter who's got the ace, who's got the queen. Okay, I can always get there, but I have to lead clubs twice from my hand. Let's try another one where again you open one no trump. Here this is again playing a weak no trump, and the opponents lead the queen of spades. And let's stop to make a plan here. We've got two spade tricks, one heart, one diamond, and we hope to make a number of club tricks. Now, if we think about it, we've got 6 clubs in dummy, 2 in our hand. We've got 8 clubs. And normally, if the missing clubs are divided 3-2, we would hope to make all those clubs. We would cash the king, queen, and then cross over to dummy and cash the rest of the clubs. But suppose as we're playing this, we take the first trick and we cash the queen of clubs and we play the king of clubs. And at this point, West discards. So now we have a bit of a problem. If you think about the missing clubs, now we're always going to lose a club. But what we have to do is overtake this with the ace. It's not a waste. We're always going to lose one club trick now. But if we don't overtake, then we won't be able to get to the north hand except with the ace of spades, and the club suit will not be established. So you were planning just to play the king, queen, and then cross over. But once you discover the bad break, the 4-1 break, the clubs don't fall. So you can still make your contract by overtaking and then playing on clubs, forcing out the jack. But you've got, when at some point you'll get back in and you can cross to the ace of spades and take your remaining clubs. So this is one where you have to overtake in clubs in order to be able to make 5 tricks. Otherwise, you'll get to block. You'll be stuck in the south end. Let's try this one. And this was actually the one I sent out at the weekend. North here opens a club. You bid a spade, and North 3 bids 2 clubs. Now, you've got 9 points here. So you might think about maybe just bidding 2 spades. That might be more correct. If you decide to bid a bit more aggressively, 3 spades, let's suppose your partner ends up in 4 spades, and the opponents lead the Jack of Diamonds. And I'd like you to think about your potential losers here in a suit contract. So that could be the subject for the next poll. After the lead of the Jack of Diamonds, how many potential losers do you think you have? What you should do is look at it from the point of view of the south hand, but taking into account the strength in the north hand. And the question is, after the lead of the Jack of Diamonds, how many potential losers do you think you have? Again, here comes a poll, and you can answer that. Have a look at the results. And most of you have said 4, 56%, with others going for 5, 3, or 2. So let's switch back and see what we think. Well, the diamond situation is interesting. We start out with actually 2 potential diamonds we might lose. But once they lead a diamond, we can be certain we're only going to lose 1 diamond trick, barring something like a ruff. Because either East will play the ace of diamonds and that will promote our king, or we can win the first trick with the king. But either way, we after that favorable lead, we should only lose 1 diamond. What about the other suits? Well, we're not going to lose any clubs. We've got the ace king opposite my 4-3. We've got the ace of spades to lose. And the other place we are going to possibly lose some tricks is in hearts. Now, what we're in danger of actually losing here is 2 heart tricks. The ace will take care of 1 trick, but we'll be left then with 2 other hearts. So we might lose a spade, a heart, a spade, 2 hearts, and a diamond. 4 tricks is what we're in danger of losing. Now, you might think, well, there are some possibilities here. One is to ruff a heart in dummy. In fact, that looks like a good option. Or another possibility is you might be able to set up the club suit and establish tricks there and be able to discard your losers on that. Now, let's suppose the opponents take the first trick with the ace, and suppose they play back a diamond, which we win with the king. And you might think the first approach is going to be to try to ruff some hearts in dummy. But suppose we take the ace of hearts and then lead a heart back. The problem now is that the opponents will see what we're up to. And because I don't have the ace of spades, they can actually draw my last trump from dummy. And now I'm going to be left with the 8 of hearts as a loser there. And I won't be able to ruff it in dummy. So if the opponents are on the ball, they can prevent that by drawing your trump. Is there anything you can do to prevent it? Well, given that you're going to lose a heart, let's play this as before. One thing you can do is to play a low heart the first time round. Now, what that means is that you have a couple of different possibilities as to how to make this contract now. If the opponents now draw your last 2 trump from dummy, you've still got the ace of hearts as an entry to establish the clubs with. Or if they don't do that, if they perhaps play the ace of spades and then knock out your ace of hearts, now you've still got a trump in dummy with which to ruff your last heart. So played that way, I would come back to my hand with a ruff that heart, and now I will cash the ace king, come back here. I can afford to ruff this one high, and then I'll draw the opponent's trumps and can make 10 tricks that way. So there are 2 possibilities here. Either that you are able to play the clubs, establish the clubs, or that you can ruff a heart in dummy. But either way, the winning play here is once you gain the lead with the king of diamonds to play a low heart, and then that gives you two chances to get to dummy. Do try me if you have any questions on that one. That was the one I sent out at the weekend, and it was slightly tricky. Let's try another one where you open a diamond, it goes pass, one heart pass, back to you, you rebid diamond, you put a minimum hand, and it goes pass, pass, but East now doubles. That double is for takeout. They didn't double right away, but now that the bidding is about to end in 2 diamonds, they've doubled. It's a takeout double still. Your West bids 2 spades, and your partner now bids 3 diamonds. And let's suppose that ends the auction. And the opponents lead a spade. They lead the jack of spades. And I'd like you to think about your potential losers on this hand in a suit contract. In spades, I'm not expecting to lose any because I've got the ace king and I can ruff after that. But I'm going to lose 1 heart and I'm missing the ace of diamonds. And what about clubs? Well, in clubs, I would like to ruff as many clubs as possible in dummy. So that's my goal in this hand, to make the most tricks possible. I want to ruff as many clubs as possible in dummy. And this requires a little bit of care. In particular, it needs a bit of care at trick 1. And in fact, you need to think carefully about what you're going to play on the jack of spades. Are you going to win that in dummy with the king? Or are you going to win it in your hand with the ace? Or are you going to duck from both hands? Those are your choices. And remember, your goal is to ruff as many clubs as possible in dummy. And here comes that next pole. What are you going to play at trick 1? Let's have a look at your responses. And the most popular choice is the ace of spades, followed by the king of spades. And let's switch back, sorry, it's this one here, and see if we can work it out. Well, the key, I think, to thinking about this is to realize that we want to ruff, ideally, all 3 clubs in dummy. And for that to be successful, we need to preserve our entries to the south hand so that we can ruff as many clubs as possible. So we're going to look at this played both ways, but the best way to play this is actually what the slight minority of you went for, which is actually to play the king of spades from dummy. Then let's see what happens after that. Remember, we're not going to touch trumps here until we've ruffed as many clubs as possible in dummy. So we're going to play a club over here and ruff the first, ruff the next club. Now we want to get back to the south hand, which we can do with the ace of spades, and ruff another club. And now we want to get again back to the south hand to ruff that last club, which we can get there by ruffing a spade. And if all that has gone according to plan, we can now ruff that last club with the queen of diamonds, and we will have ruffed all the clubs. Now we're going to just lose 1 heart trick, but whatever they play back here, we can ruff and draw the opponent's trumps, and we'll just lose 1 more trick to the ace of diamonds. Played that way, we can make 11 tricks, in fact. If we play it the other way, which was what most of you planned by taking the ace of spades, you lost an entry to the south hand. So let's play it again as we did before, trying to ruff the clubs. We can get back here, ruff the last spade, and ruff another club, but we can't ruff that last club. If we try to get back to our hand with the with a heart, the opponent, of course, can win that, and they should realize what's going on. West should realize that they should draw that last trump to prevent you roughing any more clubs. And played that way, you'll make the rest, but you'll lose a club at the end, making 10 tricks instead of the 11 tricks you could have made if you had kept your ace of spades as an entry. By the way, on this hand, the best lead for the defense, as you can see if I click on the double dummy solver, is the ace of diamonds. Yeah, the ace of diamonds followed by another diamond will prevent you from roughing 2 of the clubs in dummy, and you'll just make 3 diamonds. But on a lead of a spade, you can make 11 tricks, but you need to keep your ace of spades so that you can rough that last club. Any comments or questions on that? Let me know. And let's
Tony, normally, because of that, South has got an ace and a 6 of spades, the North is a king and a 4 and a 3. I normally think of going for the South first, the ace, just because it's got the 2 cards there.
Yeah,
that's wrong, isn't it? In this case,
it's wrong in this case. Yes, I mean you're quite right. Normally, if you were going to play the spades, you would play the ace, then the king, and then rough if you wanted to. But here, you need it's more important to keep the ace here so that you have another entry and can rough 1 more club. Let's try one more. Let's have a look at this one where you open 2 no trump and your partner raises you to 3 no trump, and the opponents lead the 6 of spades. So if we count our top tricks, well, we can see we've got 1 top trick in spades. We're actually going to make at least 2 spades here due to that favorable lead. What else have we got? 2 hearts, and we've got 3 diamonds. And obviously we want to make the clubs here. We hope to make 4 clubs here. Now, let's suppose we play low from dummy and East plays 4, and suppose you play the 10 of spades. You may think that you've won a trick cheaply with the 10, but the problem is now you will have problems, or you may have problems getting to dummy. So we can win the 10 of spades, but let's suppose we start playing clubs, and let's suppose the opponents let us win that first trick. Well, we can play another club, but whatever they play now, suppose they play a diamond, we will have problems getting to dummy. If I bring up the 4 hands, you'll see if I lead a spade now from my hand, if I lead a low spade, West will automatically go up with the king here, and now I can't get to the North hand anymore because I've got the ace opposite the queen. So whatever happens now, I can cash my last winners, but I can never take my club tricks. I can unless I somehow could get to dummy. So whatever happens here, I'm going to end up losing the last diamond, and will only make 8 tricks if the opponents defend correctly. What's the solution to this? Well, instead of winning the first trick with the 10, you win the trick with the ace. And now you have a definite entry to the North hand because you've got the Queen Jack. So now all you need to do is play clubs just as before. And whenever the opponents take their ace, if they switch back to diamonds, you can now lead spades twice. The first time they will probably take their king, but when you get back in, you can now get back to dummy and you'll be able to cash your top 3 clubs. So this is an example where if you think, oh, that lead of a spade was very nice and it gives you a chance to win a trick cheaply, you're not thinking ahead and you can then get blocked from the club suit. And finally, let's have a look at this one here where North has opened 1 no trump. There's a 2 diamond overcall, which is a natural one. And let's suppose you bid 4 hearts. Transfers are off, of course, after the interference. And the opponents lead a diamond. And let's stop to make a plan here. Well, we've got 4 tricks in spades. In hearts, we've got 9 trump, but we've got the ace king. So if we're very lucky and the hearts divided 2-2, we'd make all those hearts. And in diamonds, we've got a diamond to lose. We've got 2 clubs to lose, but maybe we'll be able to discard those losers on the spade tricks. So let's suppose we win that first trick with the ace. And let's suppose we start by drawing trumps. We play the ace and the king, and we hope that they all fall. But in fact, they don't. So there's 1 high trump out. East has it. And I'd like you to think about what you're going to play next. There's 1 high trump out. And the subject for the last poll of the evening is, what are you going to lead now from the north hand? Are you going to play a spade? If so, which one? Or are you going to play a heart, a diamond, or a club? And here comes that last poll. What are you going to lead from dummy at this point? Let's have a look at the results from the last poll. And what are the responses? The king of 6 of spades is the most popular response with 41%, followed by a low heart, a low diamond, or the king of spades. And let's switch back and see what we think. Well, very often when there's just 1 high trump out, as in this case, it's a good idea to leave it and let the opponents ruff when they want. In other words, go about cashing your spades now. The problem with that here is that if the opponents ruff one of your spades with their last high trump, you then may be cut off from dummy. So let's suppose you decide to try the spades. By the way, leading the king of spades, which some of you chose, is a very poor choice indeed, because it probably means if you play the king and then a low spade, you'll be stuck and you won't be able to get to dummy to cash the remaining spades. So when you're playing the spades, if you decide to play the spades this way, you should normally win in the shorthand with the ace. But let's suppose we play a spade back and we try to cash the remaining spades, but East ruffs. And now I don't know if you can see that you still have a winner, the queen of spades, but you will never be able to get there. So if they play a diamond, you can ruff that. But there's no way to get to the queen of spades. You can play off your last trump, then maybe play some clubs, but the opponents will get in, and unless they lead a spade for you, you'll make your contract, but you'll only make 10 tricks. So this hand is a bit of an exception to the situation where you leave that last high trump out. So what you want to do on this hand is draw trumps as before, but when you discover the bad break, it's better to draw that last trump. You're safe in the sense now that all the opponents can cash now is 1 diamond, which they can take, but now you'll be in a position to play your spade. So if they play another diamond, you can ruff that with your trumps, and of course you now cash your spades, starting by winning in the shorthand with the ace, crossing over, and you can cash all your spades, discarding your losers. And you'll make 1 more trick there by if you can run the spade tricks. So another one involving thoughts about your entries and not getting blocked from cashing your good spades in dummy there. I'll end the talk there. Does anyone have any questions about any of those?